It was one of those institutions that we always believed would be there, was there and would be there. We're the envy of the world in the fact that we set up a vocational and education training system nationally that was well funded and high quality, and regardless of your personal circumstances, you had access to quality training with a qualified workforce and a community service obligation to ensure that access was not denied to you. Unfortunately, that is not going to be the future for our TAFE unless we can, as a community, do something to combat these regressive policies that have been developed, particularly by state governments hell-bent on a massive cuts program to TAFE. In New South Wales, we have seen a massive cut to funding of TAFE. Since this government came to office, we've seen somewhere between the vicinity of $80 to $100 million cut out of our TAFE system. We've seen 800 positions earmarked for sacking. Over 200 teaching positions have already gone, with another 600 TAFE staff targeted to go over the next 4 years. We've seen the impost of a labour expense cap of 1.2%, which means, on top of cost efficiency savings, which meant that TAFE has to reduce its personnel. We've got high youth unemployment throughout the state, and in some pockets it's higher than it was in the worst of the recessions of the 1970s. And yet, at the same time, we are saying to these young people, you will have to pay for your training. You will have to pay a lot of money for your training, and we cannot guarantee you the quality of that training. When you have fly-by-night operators coming in, as we've seen in Victoria, we know that the courses are truncated, they're of low quality, they don't necessarily have qualified teachers doing the course delivery, and in essence, we have people having a high-cost, low-quality training. But the government, on a business model, will be walking away from that community service obligation. While the release of the paper today by the Minister talks about continuing it, he also says in the same release today these, what I think are quite chilling words, that community service obligation will be defined under the new funding arrangements and may become contestable over time. So he talks about that they're defined as responses to market failures which cannot be addressed sufficiently in competitive market. Well, that's fine, but then the sting in the table is, and may become contestable over time. That's code for we intend, once the community accept this, and that it becomes practice and policy, that at that point we will then withdraw our community service obligation. There's people with disability, to people in highly disadvantaged circumstances will be denied access to TAFE. Essentially what will happen over time is that the cost burden for training will shift from government onto the individual, and that individual will be paying not just hundreds of dollars as they may be expected to pay now, but thousands of dollars and then tens of thousands of dollars. We intend to take this out to the community in as broad alliance as we can possibly develop, and make sure that this government does not, in the long run, turn its back on providing a well-funded, quality TAFE system for all people in this state. It may be a long campaign, but this organisation has never shied away from long campaigns, and I can assure everyone assembled in this room this is not a campaign that has a short shelf life when it comes to the Teachers Federation. We will be making sure that this is going to be our bread and butter issue, if not for months, for years to come, until we have governments reverse these ideologically driven policies that effectively shift public money into the pockets of private shareholders at the expense of our young people. Thank you.